Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Can I tell you? It's gonna sound bad, but what I was gonna say is it feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. That's not what I mean, because the weight is back on. Hold on, I have to do a couple of things. I gotta crank the volume. Gotta caffeinate. Oh, I spilled. And continue to spill. Whatever. That's why you wear black jeans, am I right? Anyway, I feel like for basically 1 to 2 months, every Isaac episode has had some semblance of, you know, we're moving or my parents are here. I love my parents. I love our new place, but they left yesterday, and I'm finally... free is not the word that I want to use for obvious reasons, but I feel like honestly, like we took possession of this place in the middle of October. It's now like, okay, yeah. Look, here's the thing, the backlog, thank God it was 20 days at some point, because we're not quite at 20 days anymore, but it's like it's closing in on the end of the first week of December right now. So, you know, you can run the math on that. But basically, you know, for the first time in 6 weeks, I feel like I'm finally back in my routine. Yo, that's such a good item. Thank you. I can grocery shop. I can, you know, spend a little bit more time at the gym. I can take the time to tease out all those little weird intricacies of life that have made Isaac videos compelling to a subset of the population for a while, and get back to those. So for me, it's like it feels good. Now, is there anything in particular going on, you know, like in my life that is anecdote rich? No, not really. But that has never stopped me before in Isaac, so I do have to say, I had a disrupted night's sleep last night. So how did it happen? Here's what happened. Thank you for asking. I dreamt that it's my recurring nightmare, right? That I'm still living in South Korea teaching English, even close to a decade after I've left. For whatever reason, it still haunts me, you know? Regardless, this added a little wrinkle to it as well, because on top of, you know, living in South Korea and teaching English, and you know, I'm not taking any pills here, but I do want to point out, if you are talking about going back into, or you know, going to South Korea or going to Japan teaching English, I actually don't think it's a bad idea. It wasn't even really a bad idea for me. It's just the thought of having done it for more than 1 year creates a deep sense of existential dread. Now, I have, you know, colleagues that I would even call them friends that I worked with there, that are still there. They came in 2011 or 2010. It's 2020 more or less, and they're still doing it, and they're satisfied. So, you know, don't let me scare you into thinking it's you know, a terrible lot in life, because I don't believe that that's the case necessarily, but not for me long term for certain. Regardless, don't hit me! My devil deal that we probably wouldn't have taken anyway. I will take this. It's spicy, but you gotta try. It's not nothing, at least. We will place a bomb here for certain. I think we'll place one here as well. Anyway, so usually the dream is just like, and there's no joke whatsoever involved here. But usually the dream starts with me being on an airplane, and then they go like, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin our descent into Incheon International Airport in South Korea. Please fast. And I go, no! How did this happen? Like, it's just a constant thought of like, how did I get roped back into this again, yada yada yada. Anyway, this time that wasn't the case. This time I was just in Korea, and for some reason, look, in dreams, there's not always a coherent flow of information. You know what I mean? Sometimes things just happen and you feel something, and that allows you to infer the events that the dream must have thought happened. You know what I mean? Because, like, here's the thing. I punched an old lady in the face in this dream. Like a 70-year-old Korean lady, I punched her in the face. In the dream, I felt justified, okay? She was being a you-know-what. I don't know what she did, but I know that getting dropped into the dream in media res, I was like, the dream has deigned that this lady is not very nice. So I punched her in the face. And I'm not a physically violent person by any stretch of the imagination. I've never been in a fight in my whole life. I've been punched a couple of times. I've told the stories on the NLSS. The time, second grade, I got in line to come in from recess at school. The kid behind me tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "You butted me in line." And I was like, "No, I didn't." And then he tapped me on the shoulder again. I turned around, he punched me in the face. We both got in trouble because that's the way scholastic discipline worked when I was in school. It was zero tolerance. You shouldn't have gotten punched in the face if you didn't want to get in trouble, okay? By the way, did I butt him in line? No. What kind of 7-year-old is gonna cut in line to get into school faster from recess? It makes no sense. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I posit that there is no habeas corpus involved here. Crime is what happens when opportunity meets motive. Was there an opportunity to cut in line? Sure. Was there a motive? Absolutely not. Regardless, where was it? Anyway, so I punched her in the face. In the dream! Merely in the dream world. And then she's like, "I'm gonna call the police." And I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." And then the police came, and they were talking to me. And in my dream, I spoke the exact amount of Korean I speak right now, which is useful for me, because I do know how to say the expression, "I don't know Korean," which is 한국말 못해요. And I said, "한국말 못해요," and the two Korean police officers said, "Oh yeah, no kidding, look at you." And the implication, I guess, in the dream is that, you know, I don't look like I speak Korean, which is presumptuous, but I do want to say also fair. Look, is it stereotypical, maybe? Is it a stereotype? Is it a judgment based on the color of my skin? Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, that's ignorant, but you're not wrong. Anyway, that was where the dream ended. So I woke up and I was like stressed out. I was like, I'm gonna go to jail. But I didn't go to jail because it was a dream. I didn't even go to jail in my dream. So it's all good. So that's where my restless night of sleep came from. And dreams are weird because they give you like an emotional hangover, you know? You ever have a dream like that? You know, the classic example is sometimes, you know, like Kate will have a dream about me, and then she'll wake up and be like, "You were a jerk in your dream." On a logical, or in my dream, I should say. On a logical level, you're like, well, don't hold whatever dream me did against real me. Dream me is not even, you know, is a fiction. But at the same time, because of the way the human brain works, you know, I think you can't help but at least, you know, let me put it this way. You gotta work a little harder to separate the dream person from the real person. But it leaves you with, like, these real emotions. Like, I've had dreams where, like, I'm being careful about the way that I phrase this. I watch all these murder documentaries before I go to bed, right? That's like I don't even know if this is worth it, but we might as well try. We're gonna get a bunch of flies out of it, at least. I watch all these murder documentaries before bed, and, sometimes I have dreams that I'm involved in a case. Not an actual murder. I don't have dreams where, like, I kill somebody. But even then, I think if you had a dream where you kill somebody, that doesn't make you any closer to a murderer. I think we're very guilty as human beings of sometimes, you know, if you dream about something that's the subconscious wants it. I have no desire to punch a 7-year-old Korean lady in the face. I know one 60-year-old Korean lady and one 85-year-old Korean lady, and they're both lovely. They are related to me by marriage, but anyway, the point is, I don't think it expresses always a subconscious desire, but regardless, I've had dreams where, like, previously in the backstory of the dream, I've committed murder and I feel like an immense amount of guilt about it, and then I wake up and it actually takes me, like, in my sleep-addled state, it takes me like 30 to 45 seconds to remember I've not committed murder. I know it sounds ridiculous. I actually forgot we were playing the Keeper here, by the way, which is why I screwed that part up so badly. We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We can walk back and get some money, hopefully. But you know, like I wake up and I feel bad. I'm like, oh man, like the walls are closing in on me. I shouldn't have done that. And then it takes a second, you know, the systems of the brain reboot, and you go, wait a minute, I did not commit murder. That was a dream that I had, and you gotta sort of tease apart the dream world from the real world. When you're awake, it's easy, but when you're in that like in between half sleep period, that's where things temporarily get a little confusing. Anyway, dreams are weird, dude. I used to own a dream dictionary as a child. Don't blame me. My aunt was really into tarot. I no longer believe I mean, dreams and sleep are a very weird part of like human physiology and psychology, right? I don't have a pet theory that should carry any weight. I don't know. I don't know the purpose of dreaming. If there is a purpose to dreaming, who knows, you know? Might just be kind of like your oven's self-cleaning feature. Nobody knows what it does, but, you know, if it didn't do it, you'd be like, whoa, let's go with a different one. Something's wrong. I've used my oven's self-cleaning feature, okay? You know what an oven's self-cleaning feature does, by the way? I feel like some people in the modern era might believe that it just actually like sprays cleaner out of the the heat rack. It just gets hot as heck, you know, and then it like basically burns off all the detritus. It turns anything that might be in the oven into char, and then allows you to, you know, scrape it out afterwards, more or less. It gets absurdly hot, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, it feels, you know, nice to just be back in a routine. That's the thing. Because, like, you know, moving... I guess we are going to talk about moving again. Moving was very stressful. It always is, and, you know... It's the kind of thing... There's basically... The effects of moving, I honestly think, are felt for, like, a year. You're still getting mail to your old address. You know, you look at your ID, not all the addresses are changed. You changed it with 90% of the services, but, you know, the other 10%, you're like, I forgot. Stuff like that, you know? But, having my parents here, it's not stressful. It's just kind of, like, exhausting in a different way, because Kate and I are really, like... I love staying home. I've gone out. I shouldn't feel the need to defend myself, but I always do. People think I've lived a boring life. And I dispute this, to be honest with you. I'm whether I like to use the E word or not, I'm bizarrely kind of an entrepreneur in a strange field that, you know, believe it or not, I'm not saying I'm the pioneer of it, because that's ridiculous. But I'm kind of like a pioneer in the field. I was doing it before you could do it. Once I graduated from university, my first act was to move to a country where I didn't speak the language and do a job where I had no skill whatsoever teaching English. But the qualifications don't matter in that field, at least at that level. You know, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17. I wasn't kicked out, you know, they're very supportive. But, and I've lived at home for like, you know, 6 months since I was 17. So I'm like, you know, 31. I'm coming pretty close to having lived half of my life outside of my parents' domicile, which is very unusual, I would say. Or maybe not very. Is slightly unusual in the current generation. Not unheard of course. I'm just saying, you know, it's not like I've lived a risk-free existence where I've been scared of consequences. It's just merely because I like to stay at home instead of, you know, go out drinking. People assume that you live a boring life. It's not the case. I'm telling you, nothing you tell me 3 IPAs deep is going to be as interesting as what's happening on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm sorry, you just haven't lived as interesting a life as Tanya. Anyway. So we like to... This is a very good moment for this. We like to stay at home. But, you know, when my parents are here, I worked, like, not full days, but, like, 75%, 50 to 75% of my normal hours. And then, immediately after that, they'd come over. We'd hang out. You maybe go get dinner. You know, talk about, like, real-life stuff and et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of, by our standards, it's not exhausting, but it was more exhausting than our everyday life. Now, the trade-off, I always say this, I will never fight my parents over a dinner bill. I do on occasion. I don't have to fight. That's the arrangement we've got, you know? They pay for, like, at least 90% of our meals while they're here. Because previously I used to try to make it 50-50, but, you know, my dad was... This was like, under no circumstances will you pay for this dinner. Anyway. Don't get hit as much. You're kind of getting a little sloppy here. I do appreciate the... We got great wooden nickel potential, but keep it moving. It is... I've learned to lean into it and enjoy it. The first few times my parents came here and they, you know, like, we have means to pay for meals. And, you know, it feels like you should be meeting them 50-50. So, you know, it didn't create any conflict or whatever, but it was still like, I felt a little guilty. Now, you know, I'll go to the server and be like, can we have the bill, please? And my dad's like, under no circumstances are you going to pay for this dinner. And I'm like, no, I know, I just want to get out of here. Please pass the bill to my father. No! I'm not super mad about this, because you saw my game plan. I feel like we fight this guy on every single keeper run. This guy, like, he's programmed to spawn when the keeper spawns. That's just the rule. And he opens the fight by shooting 400 pieces of corn, regardless. I'm actually not that upset about this one. You know, it happens, and we were going for the coins that were created. I don't think there's too much we could have done about that situation in a repeatable sense. A little bit of a shorter Isaac today. I apologize, but we got some good conversations covered, and it's kind of an awkward length to begin with. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!